Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining me tonight. My name is Shelby Hang, and we're going to be talking about strategies for rapid implementation of solar and battery energy storage systems in Westchester County. Before we get started, be remiss not to give my sincere acknowledgments and gratitude to Tom Abdallah, our faculty advisor, and my wonderful team for all your efforts on this project. It was truly a pleasure and appreciated all the efforts everyone put in. And our client is the Business Council of Westchester. This is a consortium of over 1,000 different businesses, based in Westchester, of course, and through their Clean Energy Action Coalition, they're trying to target ways to accelerate clean energy adoption that ultimately is going to help the bottom line of these Westchester-based businesses. The focus for our project was how can we deliver actionable guidance for solar plus BESS, or solar plus storage as it's also known, to give these businesses everything they need on how they can ultimately be increasing their bottom line, adding a revenue stream, and supporting environmental goals. And this is an important time to do it because you may have heard the federal government does not love renewable energy right now. The solar investment tax credit, which is a crucial part of making a lot of solar projects pencil, is set to expire next year and go away entirely, meaning solar projects can get, at a base level, about 30% more expensive, which is a lot of money when we're talking about well over $1 million often. And if you look at this graph here, you'll see that we are currently on this little bump of the red dashed line for estimated capacity of a projection for battery energy storage projects and renewable systems. Due to these investment tax credits being set to expire next year, there's been, it looks kind of small in this graph, but basically a skyrocketing amount of demand for solar plus storage projects. And that comes at a really good time because in Con Edison, electricity is getting more expensive and it's not slowing down. In the last 5 years, rates have increased by over 36% as electrical demand has increased, as well as we've had to shut down more aged infrastructure like the Indian Point power plant. And Westchester as a county has goals that align fairly well with New York State's goal for 70% of energy coming from renewable sources by 2030. And you can see on the left-hand side of your screen here, when it comes to solar, we're doing pretty well. We're about 50% of the way there of meeting Westchester County's goals. However, on the battery energy storage system side, we're really lagging behind, and there's a lot of work to do. A lot of this can be attributed to perceived fears around fire risk with battery energy storage systems, in addition to just not really trusting of the technology and understanding of the use case it provides. And in case anyone here is not familiar with what we're talking about when we say solar plus storage or solar plus battery energy storage systems, picture basically you have a large solar system at your place of work, and that's tied to a battery about the size of a pickup truck or a shipping container. That can improve grid reliability because it is going to be physically increasing the number of generators that provide energy to the grid. That also can improve the resilience of your business because let's say there's a power outage, you don't have to be without power. You can keep the lights on, you can keep your business flowing as usual. As far as driving economic growth, there's a lot of ways to slice and dice this, but I think the most important thing is to remember is one, you can either save money by not having to buy electricity, or two, you can earn money by selling that electricity to the grid. And hopefully it goes without being said, but if we have a solar system generating carbon-free electricity, that is going to be reducing emissions. So for our approach to tackle this problem, we got to basically pretend that we're a development company. We split up into 5 teams covering all the sectors necessary to really tackle what makes a project like this come to fruition. Policy prospecting, tech and finance, and of course, at the end of the day, since we are merely humble servants serving this up to the BCW and the Clean Energy Action Coalition, all of this needs to flow through to our communications team to make sure that our message is going to be heard, felt, and actionable. So starting with policy, it's a little bit of a mixed bag, as I alluded to earlier. On the federal side, we've got kind of diametrically opposed policies, such as the Inflation Reduction Act, which massively spurred renewable energy investment, stymied by the One Big Beautiful Bill, or H.R. 1, which also introduced something called the Foreign Entities of Concern. Not going to get super into FEOC, but mainly it's just important to recognize that it is seeking to limit the amount of components that come from, namely, China. That's an issue because a lot of solar panels and batteries are manufactured in China, or at least the cells are. So we have this competing scale at the federal level. Thankfully, New York State, hometown, is a little bit better. We have programs like the New York Sun program and our Climate Act of 2019, which provide serious rebates and incentives for renewable energy adoption. But then when we zoom in even closer to a local level, it gets even more complicated. Westchester is made up of 43 municipalities, and over a quarter of those have passed moratoriums or outright bans on battery energy storage systems, largely due to the perceived fire risk. For our prospecting side, we got to, thankfully, had a couple members on our team who are very skilled at ArcGIS, and were able to basically overlay 3 primary criteria to identify viable sites. The first one was just the physical capacity. Solar does require a bit of real estate for it to be very feasible at scale, so we looked at parking lots with a minimum of 30,000 square feet, as well as buildings with a minimum of 100,000 square feet, to identify areas that represent a commercial and industrial scale opportunity. That was then overlaid on Con Edison's hosting capacity maps to identify the feeders, the poles and wires over our head that make up our electrical grid, that have sufficient capacity to plug in a large amount of energy. As you'll see on the left-hand side of your screen, those areas in red are areas where Con Edison has said, the feeders are too full, we're not taking any more interconnection applications. So those are areas where probably don't want to put a lot of money and time into looking into solar plus storage projects. And of course, in partnership with our policy team, we were able to categorize how the policy is actually looking on a municipality by municipality level. The items in blue are ones that have laws for solar and battery storage that make it very clear what the pathway is for permitting to get these projects turned on, whereas the areas in darker orange and red are what I alluded to with these moratoriums and bans, where it's not worth the time right now. All these maps come together to illustrate that we have over 460 megawatts of DC capacity for clean energy in Westchester. That's a huge amount of energy and cannot be overstated across these 300 viable sites that are also viable for battery energy storage systems. Our prospecting team was kind enough to publish this into a publicly available website, so anyone who's in the Westchester County area can look up their address and see where do they lie as far as the feasibility for installation. Our technology team was all over the map. We looked at battery storage companies, we looked at solar module companies, inverter companies, met with local installers, met with national installers and developers, and basically through several comparative matrices, arrived at recommendations for what we think the best solutions are for battery energy storage systems, solar components, and developers and installers with both national and Westchester-specific experience. Of course, the main criteria here were fire safety, policy compliance, and supply chain strength for the components, and then of course with the developer front's experience, especially local experience in Westchester. Our financial modeling team, go figure, put together a financial model. It's flexible, it's a plug-and-play option that again is publicly available. It looks at 3 revenue models: a community solar system where all the energy is injected or sold to the grid and locals can subscribe to use that energy. Power purchase agreement where, say, you don't want to put up the $2 to $5 million for your own solar system, a developer will install it for you and sell you the electricity at a reduced rate, so both parties win. And then ultimately what we found to be the biggest bang for your buck, if you can't afford it, a behind-the-meter system, where you own the system, it plugs in behind your actual meter, and all of the generation is just rolling back your electrical consumption, and any exports, times when you don't need that energy, go to the grid and you get compensated for them. We also had the good fortune of working with Veridi, a Buffalo-based battery energy storage manufacturer, who was kind enough to take a look at 5 sample sites that our prospecting team put together. And as you see here, from a battery energy storage perspective, 4 of the 5 were shown to have not only positive IRRs, but clearing what's typically in the industry that minimum 8% threshold for a developer to actually be interested in. So this was very validating to see that not only is this something that works, but this is something that within the industry, developers would be interested in taking on. And that leads us to our communications team. Pay attention if you've been slacking already, but the main recommendation that we have is if you are in an area of Westchester that is favorable to battery energy storage and solar, get moving now. Talk to the EPCs that we recommended from our tech team. They would love to have your business, and basically just get moving to secure money down on the project before the tax credits go away on July 4th. Because if you can put down 5%, you can lock in that tax credit for the next 3 years. If you're in an area that doesn't have favorable policy for battery energy storage system, that's totally fine. you can still get moving on solar. We have some recommendations in our report to outline how you can build your system in a way so that when you want to plug in a battery down the line, should policy tides shift, you're not going to be starting over from square one. These are simple matters of just upsizing the conduits, maybe pulling extra wire, expanding your equipment rack. All of this is actionable items you can be taking now. And then finally, there are three main stakeholders that we want to target for our communications campaign, and we put together a toolkit for this. The first being, of course, municipal planning boards, the ones who hold the keys to the kingdom when it comes to permitting. They really need to be educated on not only the safety of this, but the pro-business approach, the increase in tax base, and how it can really help them increase the feasibility within their town. Often they'll look to firefighters for these items, and on that note, we want to really be making sure that we're not telling firefighters, okay, the EPA says it's a 1 in a million chance of a battery catching on fire. We want to be providing them actionable code compliance and also code exceeding guidance on how to install these systems so it's not just meeting the minimum threshold. And then, of course, property owners. These are the ones who are going to be making the savings, earning the money, and pushing a lot of these actions in their local municipalities. Getting them the information on the savings or the financial capacity that they have at their fingertips is going to be very important. And ultimately, these three stakeholders are the ones that we want to target the most. I know I'm over time, so I'll be happy to take any questions, and thank you for listening.
All right, thank you. All right, that's a very nice presentation. I want to know how the solar and the battery system is being integrated. Is it that we are tapping all the solar when we have good insulation, all the solar into the battery, and at times where we don't have the insulation or we need our energy, we use it, or we are using a part of the solar at good insulation times and then storing a part of it in a battery and using that energy during times we don't have good insulation?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, it's complicated. There are many ways you can tie it in. You can have a grid-tied battery that charges from the grid and then exports to the grid, and then the solar standalone. You can have what's called an AC-coupled system, where you have an AC inverter that feeds the solar power that is generated from the solar system into the battery, and then the battery can then disperse that whenever it's needed, whether that's giving it to the business during times of, say, peak demand, so they don't have to be consuming more expensive electricity, or they could actually be exporting it to the grid, usually also during times of peak demand when electricity is more expensive, to be gaining a further return on the actual energy that they've generated. I'd say the AC coupled system is more common, but as far as what's technically possible, you can basically slice and dice it several different ways.
Great talk. So there was one site of the 5 that was bad. What was the difference with the bad site versus the good sites? Because there was a big difference.
That's a good question. I think, and I do not have this information at my fingertips, but my general impression was that this was a site where the demand of amount of energy they're actually consuming was less than kind of justifying the use case. This is a peak demand shaving model where basically you're pulling a little bit less energy during those peak hours when it's more expensive, but the battery is not large enough to fully provide all your energy during those times. So I'll have to double check with my team, and I'll be happy to follow up with you later. But I don't have the exact specifics on what about this 5th site made it not feasible.